Good morning. In this lecture, I want to discuss about the sampling theorem. Okay. Here, I want to tell about the definition and the different statements of sampling theorem. Then, what is the application of sampling theorem? Then, I have to show you the block diagram of sampling theorem and some theorems I have to talk about. And I want to talk about the output of sampling theorem. So, as we know, okay, so we know that a signal has three properties like amplitude. One is amplitude, then first one is amplitude, then frequency, then phase. Okay, so we know that a signal has these three properties. Okay, like voltage and another one is voltage. Okay, so voltage, amplitude, frequency and phase. Okay, these are the properties of the signal. Okay, so the signals are represented only in an analog form where the digital form of technology is not available. Okay, but analog signals are continuous in time and the difference in voltage level for different periods of the signal. However, the main drawback of this is the amplitude keeps the changing along with the period of the signal, and this can be overcome by the digital form of the signal representation. The conversion of an analog form of the signal into digital form can be done using the sampling technique. Okay, and the output of this technique represents the discrete version of its analog signal. Okay, so we here in this we can talk about that, or you can finding what is sampling theorem. Here I have to talk about what is sampling theorem, definition and applications and its types. Okay, so what is sampling theorem? What is sampling theorem? Now I have to discuss. A continuous signal. Suppose now here I am to talk about what is sampling theorem exactly. So we know that a continuous signal or an analog signal can be represented in the digital version. Okay, in the form of samples. Then this is called sampling. Okay, here the samples are also called as the discrete points. In sampling theorem, the input signal is an analog form of signal, and the second input signal is a sampling signal, which is a pulse train signal, and each pulse is equidistant with a period of Ts. Okay, that is Ts. The period of Ts, this sampling signal frequency should be more than twice of the input analog signal frequency. Okay, and if the condition satisfies, analog signal perfectly represented in discrete form, else analog signal may be losing its amplitude values of certain time intervals. So here we can tell, suppose how many times the sampling frequency is more in the input analog signal frequency. In the same way, the sampling or the sampled signal is going to be perfect discrete form of signal, and this type of discrete signal are well performed in the reconstruction process of recovering the original signal. You see the block diagram here, okay. Here analog signal, then as per our discussion I am seeing I have told you about the sampling theorem, okay. What is happening in the sampling theorem. So according to that, I am showing the block diagram here. So here the inputs are analog signal and periodical signal sequence, okay. Some pulses are generated from the periodical signal sequences. So when these two are added by multiplier, then we are getting sampling output, okay. So here we can tell that the sampling theorem can be defined as the conversion of analog signal into a discrete form by taking the sampling frequency as twice the input analog signal frequency. Input signal frequency denoted by FM and sampling signal frequency denoted by Fs, okay. FM, this is your input signal, okay, and Fs is your sampling frequency, okay. FM is your frequency denoted by what? Input signal, and the sampling signal frequency is denoted by Fs, okay. So here the output sample signal is represented by the samples, and these samples are maintained with a gap, and these gaps are termed as sample periods or sampling intervals. Sampling intervals are nothing but that is our Ts, okay. Ts is your sampling interval, and the reciprocal of the sampling period is known as sampling frequency or sampling rate, okay. So the number of samples is represented in the sampled signal is indicated by the sampling rate. So sampling frequency is, that is Fs is, that is our Fs. Fs is our sampling frequency, which is 1 by Ts, okay. So when you are coming to the statement, okay, statement of sampling frequency, okay. You can tell that sampling theorem states that it continues, it is a continuous form of a time invariant signal, which can be represented in the discrete form of a signal with the help of samples, and the sampled signal can be recovered to original form when the sampling signal frequency, which is Fs, having the greater frequency value than or equal to the input signal, which is frequency FM, okay. So I can tell that here the Fs will be greater or equal to 2FM, okay. So if the sampling frequency Fs equals twice the input signal frequency FM, okay, then such a condition is called the Nyquist criteria for sampling, and when sampling frequency equals twice the input signal frequency is known as Nyquist rate, that is Fs is equal to 2FM. Fs, that is Fs is equal to 2FM. In this condition, this is called the Nyquist rate, okay. Now if the sampling frequency fs is less than twice the input signal frequency, then such criteria is called aliasing effect, which is fs less than 2 fm. Okay, when fs is less than 2 fm, then this is called aliasing effect. Okay, so there are three conditions that are possible. Okay, in one condition it may be fs greater than 2 fm, or in second condition it may be fs is equal to 2 fm, or in another condition it may be fs less than 2 fm. So these are the three conditions that are possible from the sampling frequency criteria, and they are sampling, Nyquist and analyzing states. Okay, these three states are what? Sampling, Nyquist and aliasing states. Now, okay, so we'll talk about the theorems later. Okay, thank you very much.